Ça, d'ailleurs, elle commence comme ça. Les années 70, le pouvoir des fleurs, la vague hippie qui submerge les États-Unis et bientôt le monde entier. Linda Perhacs aime les fleurs, suit des études pour être dentiste, écrit des chansons et côtoie un compositeur célèbre qui va l'inciter à faire un disque, Parallelograms, oublié depuis 40 ans, réédité 2 fois depuis 2000, car Linda Perhacs est devenue égérie indie à mesure qu'une ribambelle d'artistes cite ses ritournelles, des Sonic Youth au plus électro Prefuse 73. En 2007, Devendra Banhart l'invite à faire les chœurs sur un de ses albums et les Daft Punk incluent If You Were My Man sur la bande originale de leur film Electroma. Quel regard vous portez sur Devendra Banhart, qui est un peu, j'ai l'impression, l'héritier du mouvement hippie et de la musique qui va avec aujourd'hui?
So what do you think of Devendra Banhart, who is like the heir of the hippie indie music? What do you think of him?
I adore him, but he's just a very sweet, sweet friend. I can't say enough good about him. He truly, truly, truly is a person of love, great love.
Okay, thank you very much.
For all people.
Okay, thank you very much.
But also very creative.
Right. Est-ce que vous pensez qu'il est l'héritier? Est-ce qu'on peut dire ça?
So do you think that he's truly the heir of this movement?
Oh, I don't know how to explain it. People gravitate toward him. I think he would work out in any era. I've often said he's a very old soul in a very young body. Okay. He just would match any place, any time.
Okay.
People are very gravitated toward him. His energy is that way.
Okay.
People of all ages, people of all types of artistic gifts. Devendra is most loved when you are close to him.
Okay. Thank you very much. Donc en fait, Devendra Banhart, il aurait pu appartenir à n'importe quelle époque, puisque n'importe où il se trouve, il y a plein de gens qui gravitent autour de lui. Donc Linda nous dit qu'elle a toujours pensé que c'était une vieille âme dans un jeune corps. Il se met dans toutes les situations. Il rentre dans tous les milieux, dans tous les âges.
Les années 70, le mouvement hippie, le pouvoir des fleurs, les énergies positives, l'amour, pas la guerre. Est-ce que vous y avez vraiment cru? Est-ce que vous y croyez encore, Linda Perhacs?
So flower power, positive energy, make love, not war. Did you really believe in that? And do you still believe in that?
I wish everybody could have experienced that era. It wouldn't have been a question you'd have to ask. It was everywhere. I lived at that time in Topanga Canyon, which is like sort of living in Laurel Canyon. Los Angeles is so crowded that those of us who love a little bit of the outdoors and all the artists around us, we would go to those canyons at that time. Right now they go to another area called Silver Lake and Echo Park, which is also kind of mountainous in a smaller way. But all I can tell you is you could have probably walked in any door in Topanga Canyon, which is a large area of people, and you would have been welcome at any time. You would have been greeted with love and respect. And yes, love was very powerful then. It wasn't something that was laughed at or thought of as silly or not intellectual enough. Love was being expressed by everybody, and kindness towards one another.
Okay.
Truly.
Thank you.
I wish everybody could have experienced it. It was a beautiful time.
Ok, thank you very much. Donc Linda nous dit que c'est qu'elle y a cru évidemment, puisque à l'époque c'était clairement comme ça. Elle aurait bien aimé que tout le monde puisse, même aujourd'hui, tout le monde ait pu connaître cette époque. À l'époque, voilà, donc c'était vraiment tout le monde était bien accueilli partout, respecté. L'amour à l'époque, ça paraissait pas stupide, c'était vraiment, c'était puissant. Et voilà, on sentait vraiment cette force partout. Et donc les hippies, les gens de ce mouvement-là, donc se réunissent dans les canyons. Maintenant, c'est un peu c'est un mouvement qui est resté, mais dans une moindre mesure. Il y a d'autres lieux, mais c'est beaucoup plus restreint. Voilà.
On va revenir sur cet album forcément qui a marqué votre vie et puis l'histoire de la musique, puisque beaucoup d'artistes y sont revenus. Leonard Rosenman qui est compositeur de bandes originales de grands succès hollywoodiens comme À l'Est d'Éden, La Fureur de Vivre, Barry Lyndon, c'est lui qui vous a poussé à enregistrer Parallelograms. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous raconter comment tout ça s'est passé?
So Leonard Rosenman, who composed a lot of famous movies soundtracks. He wanted you to record parallelograms. Can you tell us how it happened?
Yes. I'm also a dental hygienist, and I met Leonard and his wife Kay through my dental work. They were my patients. And after seeing each of them for about 10 appointments, one day he just looked up and he said, "Linda, I can't believe this is all you do." And I have to give you a little bit of the setting. It was a very glamorous office in the middle of Beverly Hills, almost Rodeo Drive. The clientele was entirely from the movie industry, et cetera, et cetera. And I was surrounded every day that I was there. Maybe out of 8 hours of work, I might have seen 6 or more hours of really high-profile people, including consulate generals and things like that from other countries. I was surrounded by high-profile people. But my favorite were the creators behind the scene, the ones that wrote the music, wrote the scripts, directed. They just somehow were my favorites because they were creating the whole situation in a way that I could understand. So Leonard and Kay were my favorites, and anytime they came in, I'd say, "What's your project? What are you doing now? What have you been asked to do?" And my interest was sincere. So one day he just looked up and said, "I can't believe this is all you do." I said, "No, I have a very creative husband. Artists are in and out of the house all the time. We live in Topanga Canyon." And he listened to a little bit of what I said. I said, "We go out into the wilderness. He's got a big bird collection, hawks and falcons and things." And then he teaches aerospace at UCLA on design, form, and function. And I said, and I go with him and I write little songs. I take solitary walks in wild and beautiful country. And he looked up and he said, you're in your middle 20s. You live in Topanga Canyon where all the artists are and the hippie action. And he said, and you're writing little songs. I need to hear those songs. And I said, why would a composer like you of your stature want to hear my little songs? He said, because I'm getting assignments. My wife and I have assignments for TV shows or movies where we need that flavor, but we're about 20 years too old, to fully understand it and be able to breathe it. So he said, let me hear the songs. So I made him a little tape in my kitchen, and I got a call at 8 o'clock the next morning, which was a Saturday, that woke me up. And he said, Linda, how soon can you get here? And I said, what? He said, how soon can you get here? Those songs are beautiful. So he and his wife said, we could use the help for some of these assignments. That was the original idea. But the more he worked with me, the more he thought to himself, this really ought to be an album. But the thing that really cinched it was when I showed him the idea for the song Parallelograms. Then he was on fire. He said, we have to do an album. And that one is a pretty unique design. It's a three-dimensional sculpture in music with a frame around it that's Celtic in sound, but the inside is a three-dimensional sound sculpture. And all we had to work with in those days was surround sound, and our maximum was 24 tracks. That was as big as it got in those days. And so when he's actually, I had seen this whole thing over my head as I was driving the car down the freeway, and people have their suspicions as to why. But even as a child, there are many things I've seen and known, and intuitively understood. So when I saw this, I was a little startled, and I pulled off and tried to draw a picture of what I was seeing. And it was on little scrap paper because I was driving home from Leonard and Kay's home after they had spent 8 hours infusing me with music from all over the world and many centuries of composition, because they were trying to help me grow faster and in order to keep up with them. And so I showed him the idea. I said, in the center of this piece, I'd like a three-dimensional sound sculpture, surround sound, and we'll probably need to use so many layers of harmony to do what I have in mind that we'll have to max out, as many tracks as we can use. And he just flipped. He said, "This is such a good idea. I'd be lucky to think of an idea this good twice in my life, and I'm a 12-tone, atonal, maximum type composer, with a lot of years of schooling." So with that, he marched into Universal Studios and he said, "I need a budget." And they didn't argue with him because he was so well known. And he got a budget for four songs initially. And but he always said the first 4 have to be ordinary songs. If we get there okay after those first 4, then we'll do that bigger composition. But we'll do it without any of the executives in the room. He said they will never understand it. And we'll have to do it privately and kind of sneak it in. But that's the song that carried the whole album for all these years. That's the one that caused the most stir. So it was done in private with an engineer, Leonard, and I, pretty much, and the musicians that we called in, which were, for that piece, not that many.
Okay. I hope I'll translate the... I'm not sure what you said. I'll try to make it short. I'm sorry I can't say everything you said, but it was really, really interesting. Alors, on va revenir.
Vous ne mettez pas trop longtemps, s'il vous plaît.
Non, je vais me dépêcher. En fait, donc, c'était une rencontre qui a eu lieu dans un cabinet dentaire dans lequel Linda travaillait. En fait, c'était son patient. Et donc, elle était fascinée par les gens qui venaient à ce cabinet. Il y avait beaucoup de célébrités et beaucoup de gens de haut rang. Et donc, voilà, elle était fascinée par surtout les créateurs, les gens qui avaient cette faculté de créer et qui n'étaient pas forcément devant les projecteurs, mais derrière, comme les compositeurs de musique. Donc, ils en sont venus à discuter. Elle lui demandait ce qu'était son nouveau projet et elle montrait vraiment un intérêt réel. Et donc, lui s'est intéressé aussi à son histoire et il lui a dit mais pourquoi tu fais ça? Pourquoi tu te consacres pas davantage à la musique? Donc ils se sont rencontrés plusieurs fois et au final donc elle lui a fait écouter donc ses musiques. Elle a enregistré une cassette dans sa cuisine qu'elle lui va donner et ensuite il a semblé très 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 pressé de découvrir, de la faire enregistrer. Donc c'était un peu, ce disque-là, c'est un disque, si j'ai bien compris, qu'elle a voulu comme une sculpture en 3 dimensions. À la base, on pouvait faire que 24 pistes. Ils se sont contentés au départ donc de n'en faire que 4 parce qu'il fallait vraiment donc un échantillon. Voilà, donc à la base, ils avaient le budget que pour 4 chansons ça a été enregistré donc uniquement dans l'intimité avec donc un ingénieur, Léonard, et les musiciens et Linda. Voilà, donc c'était vraiment un petit projet intimiste à la base.